Right, hello. Hopefully everybody gets a notification for this. I've been at work all weekend. Just had a shower and that and thought I'd come on. Um, but yeah, I'm going to try tomorrow if it works doing a members stream again because members streams have been broken for a while on YouTube, but they might have fixed it. So I'll give it another go again tomorrow and see if it works. Because for ages they worked fine, and when they changed a load of the stuff on YouTube, suddenly like the member stream didn't get sent to anybody that was a member. Right, Freddie? All right, Hajin, if I'm pronouncing your name right. All right, Brighto? All right, Joshua. So, yeah, busy weekend at work again, but I thought I'd come on for a bit now. Oh, and I've got a 4K Blu-ray player now, so I can watch Dune at some point soon. I haven't fitted it yet because I bought it for my PC. So it's arrived today, but I haven't opened my case up to put it in. So I've just got a standard Blu-ray player there. So later on, or tomorrow, whatever, I'll take the case apart and swap the drives out. Because annoyingly, most modern cases like this one don't have room for multiple drives. Otherwise, I just put the 4K, Blu-ray one on as a separate drive. But annoyingly with mine, there's only the space for 2 drives on there. And I've got the Blu-ray drive on one drive slot and a USB-free drive as the second drive slot. So a lot of cases now don't even have room for one drive, let alone, USB or, disk drive, which is really sort of stupid, I think, because it's always good to actually have a physical media drive on your PC. I'm all right, Craig. Busy weekend at work this week, but I'm done with that now because last week I think I ended up working 6 days, as well as all that parcel fiasco. Only day off I had last week was Monday, so worked Saturday, Sunday last week. Then was doing like dog walking, dog sitting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I've been at work again the weekend. Oh, that's annoying. So yeah, you've got your MP5, but it's a broken MP5. That is annoying. Right, South Wales Outdoors. When potentially sites get some of the newer obsolete calibers on there, as in the ones that have been added to the list that aren't currently on the list or are on the list as of like now, I'm very tempted to get a Carcano. Because I would love to get a, Italian Carcano, like one of the older Italian Carcanos. But yeah, I'll have to wait and see, because obviously it depends on price, because if they go on for several grand, then I'm not going to pay that, But if for the sort of £300, £500 thing, some more calibers of obsolete rifle or elephant guns go up, I'd love one. Saying that, elephant gun, yeah, there's several Nitro Express cartridges added to this new obsolete caliber thing. So, I'd love to get a massive old elephant gun for shits and giggles. All right, Gilot, which model of Pascut did you get? Do you know? Like the original old US Pascut or one of the Pascut clones or one of the improved designs? And hello, Flazzy and Puffing Guy. Hello to you in Norway. Probably pot noodles, Iron Man. I mean, I'd eat both, but pot noodles, you can get a bit more variety and flavors, I imagine. But I've got the ones Mike likes, which is the Polish noodles, which come with like different sauce and oil sachets. So less healthy than pot noodles, if you imagine that can even be a thing. But basically, as well as the flavoring sauce, you also get like an oil sauce thing you put in the noodles. It makes them a bit more fatty and kind of like fresh noodles rather than pot noodles. I've still got loads of those in the cupboard, actually, because, they have like 5 years on the date. That's very cool, Oakalot, because Granada would be quite early for the Pascut, wouldn't it? Because I imagine a lot of the helmets issued at the time would have been M1s, but yeah, that is cool. I mean, that's interesting, but yeah, I personally wouldn't buy an N10, especially if it cost a lot, but the cool thing was, as I was saying the other day, this did come the other day, and I've given the seller feedback for it now, because it's cool getting FM12 back for the RRP sort of price of them. Yeah, if I saw one, Rich, for £500, I would definitely spend that on a elephant gun, just because of how crazily big they are. Was that like a double barrel one? Or was it like a single barrel one? Because I've seen some elephant guns like single barrel shotguns, some elephant guns like double barrel shotguns, and I think there's a few lever action elephant guns, aren't there? But yeah, elephant guns are crazy. For the people who don't know, obviously, name elephant gun is because it was designed for killing elephants in Africa. They're like big game rifles. So if you think of things like Martini Henrys at the time, or like typical, 12 to 20 bore shotguns, they look like shotguns that are just massively oversized. Because the idea was that, you had a huge slug in them. A much bigger slug than you would with a standard shotgun. But they're really, really cool things. Not that I advocate hunting elephants, because I like elephants and, all those sort of animals, but I find the guns themselves cool. I don't think it did, Brightold. So what did you say? I went for a full refund tomorrow. I'll get my money back. I also bought a cheap folding saw, which I heard is very good for a funny price. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't even see that comment, Brightold. Sorry, because I was talking about the elephant gun. But... 4-bore, yeah, that's crazy. I want to know what the Soviet 23mm shotgun is in bore. Is there a thing that lets you convert millimeter to bore? Convert millimeter to caliber. Okay, so 23mm is 0.9 caliber, apparently. So is that 0.9 bore? But yeah, because the Soviet 23mm shotguns are fucking huge, and they're really cool. I would definitely buy a deactivated KS-23 if one came up for like under £750. Because if those of you that don't know, the KS-23 is a really, really cool shotgun. So the Soviet Union, because of waste not, want not, when they made the Shilkas and the other 23mm anti-aircraft guns, they had 23mm, high-velocity anti-aircraft. So if you think 50 cal, but even beefier, they used to make those. But if they had a barrel that wasn't high pressure enough, like it was a slightly flawed barrel, rather than throwing it away, they made them into shotguns. So there's the Soviet shotguns called the KS-23, which is a 23mm shotgun. So it looks like a standard shotgun, but, on steroids, because everything about it's beefier. I've seen some crazy punt guns like that, Normal Citizen, like ones that are on little boats for shooting ducks, I think they are. And yeah, it literally looks like you've got an anti-aircraft cannon bolted to a, like a little rowboat. Yeah, Connor, that's basically it, isn't it? Yeah, anti-tank rifle meets a shotgun. That's what an elephant gun is. But yeah, sometimes I just miss comments, Brighto, because if somebody makes one while I'm replying to another one, I normally miss them. Let me look it up. So, is it Polish UR rifle? Because we can talk about guns even if I can't pick them up and show you them on the stream. That's cool. I've definitely seen that before, but I didn't know the name of it. The funny thing is, in Britain, you could actually legally own that. Because on the Section 1, you can have anti-tank rifles. Not that, there's much practical reason for having them. Yeah, I don't really know anything about that one, but that's pretty cool. Because I know the British one was the boys' anti-tank rifle, wasn't it, at the time? And I know there's some other really cool, like, giant anti-tank rifles. What's the oversized German one called? Because it looks like a G98. It's, like, way, way bigger. Yeah, Fluzzy, let me get you a picture of the KS-23. I did see one of the mods I've got for Stalker has the KS-23 actually in it as a usable gun, so I'm quite tempted to buy it in the game. But there you go. So this is the KS-23. Tank Gavea sounds about right, yes. So literally tank rifle. I think that is the one I'm thinking of. There was a deactivated one of those for sale for like £2,000 on D&B at one point. I was like, I can't justify spending that, but that is really cool. There is one for there. But yeah, that's the KS-23. I wonder if there's a picture of it next to a regular shotgun. Because what I want to, get is a picture of it compared to a normal shotgun. Because you can't really see the scale of it until it's next to a normal shotgun. Yeah, annoyingly, I can't see any pictures of the KS-23 next to a normal shotgun. But they are huge. Let me search 23mm shotgun shell. This is 12 gauge, because there might be one of actually the ammo. I'll be back on the chat in a minute. I'm just seeing if I can actually get a picture up of the No, the only thing is like people saying 23mm is a really big shotgun shell. It's like, yes, we know. But yeah, it's the mass. Oh, apparently it's 4 gauge, Flazzy, just judging by a little thing I found. The thing is, South Wales Outdoors, like I said, if a decent priced elephant gun turns up on D&B Militaria or somewhere like that as an obsolete caliber, not a DIAC, I would probably buy one. It's just, again, in a month or so, hopefully we'll start seeing on, like, the market any of the newly added obsolete calibers. Yeah, that was the thing I noticed looking at Brightor, like you're saying, the actual cartridge is massive compared to the bullet, isn't it, essentially? Where a lot of shells have pretty big bullets, relative to the sides of the shell. Looking at that Polish anti-tank rifle, yeah, it's like a regular sized bullet almost on a massively powerful cartridge. Wood on AKs. I think Soviet AK-74 still used wood, didn't they? At least some of the models of it. There's others that are Bakelite, like handguards on it. So I'd assume the 70s to the 80s. It probably just depended on which factory was doing them. Because a lot of the stuff in the Soviet Union was just literally down to which factory was making stuff. That, they wouldn't stop using a material after a certain date. They would like run all their supplies down with it first. Yeah, normal citizen. That's probably why the deactivated tank Gewehr was probably like $2,000, because again it was deactivated for that price. Well, sometimes deacts more than real guns depending on the country, but yeah, I suppose if it's essentially a non-functional version of a very historically rare or interesting gun, it's probably going to be a lot cheaper. But still, I wouldn't pay $2,000 for a deac personally. Let me have a look. Brighto, I probably didn't see it. Yeah, that's what I was just reading out, Brighto, that, yeah, the bullet is really small compared to the thing, so the bullet is very high velocity, yeah. For what they are, Flazzy, yes. Sometimes you can get them really cheap if it's like, just like a not interesting brand of like bolt action or hunting shotgun. Just like a mass produced varmint type rifle or just a single barrel or double barrel side by side or over under shotgun. Those can be quite cheap, but yeah, the actual interesting historical guns that are deactivated are sometimes more than the real ones. Deactivated AKs certainly cost more than real AKs do. But yeah, it's annoying because there's some deac guns I'd really like to get, but just the price of them is silly, so you're like, why? Because that's the thing I don't get, where like quite common regular firearms as a deac would cost, relatively the same as what an American would pay to buy a semi-automatic version. So like M16s and AR-15s, often the DIAC ones are over like $1,000. They're like between $1,000 and $3,000. It's like, why would anybody pay that for a DIAC, AR? Especially when you can get DIAC AKs still for £200 reliably. Let me check, Fluzzy, but like I was saying, I know Mike got quite a few DIAC shotguns at one point when they were like £100 each, but I imagine they're probably more than that now. But let me just have a look on D&D Militaria. So, deactivated rifles and shotguns. Assume post World War II, and then I just want to sort by price, lowest to highest. Yeah, there's rifles and shotguns on here for like £100 to £200. So yeah, it seems like just very conventional bolt actions or shotguns are pretty damn cheap. Just, I guess, because there's nothing really any special about them whatsoever. There's a deactivated L42 rifle, which is really nice, but I wouldn't pay $4,500 for a deac. For those that you don't know, the L42 was basically the post-war Lee Enfields that became the sort of marksman rifles prior to the L96. Yeah, Fuzzy, so it gives you some idea, doesn't it? So it's weird. He was saying that, yeah. So Lucas, yeah, that's the weird thing. So deactivated AKs are much cheaper in the UK than the US, but the actual ARs are much more expensive. I've definitely seen second-hand shotguns quite a lot brighter on gun trader sites. Not that I can buy them, because I don't have a Section 2. But, like a single bore, break action 410 or like 20 bore for £50 is quite normal, especially ones that are a bit beaten up, just because, you can still use it as a shotgun. Again, Lucas, it's because they're second-hand. And in the UK, we have a lot more shotguns than rifles just because of how our licensing works. But yeah, like obviously, if you wanted to buy a second-hand good pump action or semi-auto, they're probably going to be a lot more than that. But in terms of just like simple brake barrels, they're not going to cost much. There's probably not much of a US market, is there, for like single-bore brake barrels, where over here, they're probably quite good guns if you just wanted a shotgun for the sake of having a shotgun, not, worried about using it for home defense or anything, but just to use it on vermin. That's weird, Fuzzy. Semi-autos are cheap, but yeah, I suppose I've never seen any listed at that price. But I don't doubt that there are them, at that price. I suppose it depends on the model, doesn't it? I've seen quite cheap pump actions as well, but again, yeah, it depends on what you want, doesn't it? And again, all of the Section 2 ones are going to be limited to 3 shells loaded into it with this small internal magazine. That's pretty crazy, yeah, 150 and it hadn't barely been shot. I wonder if some of those Flazzy are ones where like people have inherited the gun and then just want to get rid of it because they don't want to go through all the legal paperwork, so they essentially just sell it off as cheaply as possible. Because one of my friends had that issue where his granddad left him some guns, so he kept the ones he could legally keep on obsolete calibers and that, but the ones that were Section 2s, he essentially just had to sell, and didn't make really any money from them, but he didn't want to go through all the legal bollocks. So, he just essentially, they weren't anything special, but, it was that kind of thing of he's got the guns and he wants to, just not have to deal with any legal BS. So he just basically got a gun shop to sell them pretty much. I'm sure the gun shop made a profit on it, but, he didn't get much, but it was just so he could not have all the legal bollocks of, having Section 1 and 2, I think it's just Section 2s actually, given to him. Yeah, wish I could get an SMG that cheap, right, Tom? Yeah, Benelli Supernovas, I don't think, Spencer, are that expensive over here, but obviously Benelli Supernovas are pump action. But yeah, you can get some quite good shotguns in the UK, but again, there's a market for it because, again, I think a lot of people don't know this overseas. We can own, shotguns relatively easily. So if you're a farmer, you might want to actually buy a good shotgun. So there's actually more of a competitive market for those. Yeah, it's weird, Brightel, but if the laws in some countries make it easier to own or, at least shoot live firearms and air guns, that's the weird thing. Because I know people that haven't shot crossbows but have shot quite a lot of firearms. And again, it's just because in some countries, crossbows are completely illegal. But it's much easier than the UK to just pay for a range day. Like most major cities and towns in some countries have a range you can go to. Pay like $20 or whatever, go in and just shoot a load of guns. So again, they haven't shot crossbows or bows, but they've shot, firearms. It just depends on the laws in your country, really. All right, Peach. Oh, what is that when we have to like put the air or water into it? Because I don't know if we have to do it with our boiler, but with our immersion heater, you have to like let a certain amount of air in every now and again, like look at a pressure gauge, because if you overflow it, it will like flood the thing and break it, and not enough, it doesn't come out the taps very fast. But yeah, it's going to depend on the gun, isn't it? With the prices, of course, that's always a thing. Like we're saying, with if you're talking about like the same brand of shotgun or whatever, certain models are going to be much rarer and more sought after than others. But yeah, so I'm going to, for the people who weren't on earlier, for any of the members, I'm going to try and do a members stream tomorrow evening and see if it works, because at the moment, every time I've tried a members stream in the last few months, they've not worked. But YouTube might have changed something again. There won't be very many people watching this one, Spitfire, because I've made it on this one, so you have to have been a member, not a member, like a subscriber for quite a while to comment, just so it stops all the people spamming the really dumb questions like, where do you buy gas mask? Those sort of things. That's pretty similar to ours, Peach, but ours doesn't use a key. It's just like a big lever that you twist down like that, and then twist back up. Like, an old pneumatic handle. But again, it's probably 1960s-ish, I think, looking at that one. It's in a cupboard. You can't see it over there. But yeah, I think that immersion heater's as old as the house. Right, Thomas? I definitely know what you mean by that, South Wales Outdoors, because there's some old guns, aren't there, which do have a lot of character to them. Because it's like with all the DX I've got as well, one of the most, I find like the really old, like 1800s obsolete calibers I've got almost have more interest in them, because, they're much more beat up, used looking, things you think, how many times had this been used to train somebody, or what, theaters had it been in, and then, come back from. I don't know, Craig, completely what the laws are. You'd have to ask somebody like Flazzy, because he does do shooting. What you can get on which one. No, Avon doesn't sell directly to civilians unless you're buying things like escape hoods. Avon basically does company contracts. But yeah, from what I understand, birdshot is pretty easy to buy in most gun shops, and I think what they'd call like fox shot, which is probably like number 2 shot, something like that, number 2 buckshot, like the not double or but the one where you get more ball bearings, but they're a smaller size, but not birdshot size. Obviously, people can shoot slugs and like buckshot over here, but they're not as common because most farmers don't need them. Yeah, obviously there's quite a big shotgun market over here, because again, this was the thing, we had that mass shooting recently. We had all the idiots on like the radio and the TV going like, oh, but why would anyone need a shotgun? It's like, because there are lots of farmers or people that live in rural areas that need them for pest control. If you ban guns, it doesn't mean that pests go away. But there were people who just couldn't fathom the idea that people would actually need guns for like vermin control. It wouldn't surprise me, actually, with all the stuff we were saying, if air guns over here end up being a bit cheaper than maybe in the US. Just because of the fact that, more people here are incentivized to buy air guns than, say, 22 rifles. Just because of, like the fact that you can get an air gun without as much hassle. Let me have a look at what that is, Brighton. Was that Polish airgun laws? Or here, all air guns are no permit, but ones over 17 joules have to be registered, because law starts to treat them as pneumatical weapons. What Brighton is, I'm trying to actually think what the British limit is on joules, because I know it is foot pounds. 12 foot lb to joules. Let's look what that is. Okay, so it's 16.2 joules here, Brighton. So it's pretty similar, actually, power limit in Poland or whatever to the UK. Well, Alex, the problem is most of our laws came in when we had mass shootings. Where we had politicians that went, "Oh, because this was done with this gun, we'll now ban this sort of gun," kind of thing. If that makes sense. Where again, it doesn't make sense if you're a regular person who's interested in the stuff, but you can understand why people win votes on it, just because of the thing. Somebody saying, "Oh, because this shooting was done with this gun, we need to ban all guns like this gun." Anyway, I won't be on this stream for ages tonight, just because, as I said, I was at work long hours this weekend. But as I said, I will try and do a members stream tomorrow if it works in the evening. If the members stream doesn't work, I'll just do a regular stream. Was he, Lucas, somebody that just tried to ban everything? I know Surviving the Apocalypse's channel litter picker, but I haven't seen an old police training film on there. So I'll definitely have to look that up. But Surviving the Apocalypse is the bloke in Northern Ireland that has the ROC post. So I definitely know his channel. But I've not actually seen that video, no. Yeah, that'd be good, Brighto. They're interesting to shoot air guns. The weird thing I found is when I've had a chance to shoot PCP air rifles, pre-charged pneumatics, as much as from a practical standpoint, they're really cool. I didn't like them very much because I didn't like the fact that you shot the gun and you didn't feel recoil. Because even with like a Springer or a gas ram, you get a little bit of a kick to it. So, you get some feedback that you shot it. But the thing I don't like with the PCPs is that because of how they work, you literally get no recoil whatsoever from them. So you're like, "Oh, have I shot it?" Yeah, because there's a hole in the target, but still, it doesn't feel right. Yeah, that's how nearly all countries work, though, unfortunately, Alex, with politicians deciding bans. They've got an electoral mandate, so they'll just make up what they want. Oh, cheers, Punches Couches. I'm going to try and do a members stream tomorrow if it works. But when I've last tried to do some members streams, say in like a month or plus ago, because they used to work fine for quite a long period, then YouTube changed one of the interfaces and it seemed to break, trying to do a members only stream. I'm going to try again tomorrow. What I might do is about 15 minutes before I start it, I might schedule it and see if that means that it then sends the notifications out by the time I'm going to start it. I'll definitely look that up, Litter Picker. I think YouTube has probably done that dumb thing again where it's not giving me notifications to half the channels I'm subscribed to. Because I've got the subscription and bell turned on for his channel, and if it's, not notifying me of videos again, that sounds about right. What I always find funny is when you see people post pictures of their bruises like shoulders where they've been shooting a new gun and not used to the recoil yet. But yeah, obviously it will kick like a mule because it's a big old full power cartridge. 7.62 Soviet? Not 7.62 by 39. Is it 7.62 by 55 or 7.62 by 54R? Isn't it the Gant cartridge? It's the same one the PKM uses and all those. But yeah, it's going to be similar power to like the Lee Enfield round, the 303. They're going to be very similar power. Yeah, so 7.62 by 54 millimeter rimmed. Yeah. Yeah, I know the R stands for rimmed, Peach. Because, yeah, for the people that don't know, because I'm not technically showing a gun, I don't think YouTube's going to cause a fit over this. But the difference between rimmed cartridges and non-rimmed cartridges is rimmed cartridges tend to look like that, where you've got the actual rim that's bigger than the end of the cartridge to help extracting them. Whereas the non-rimmed cartridges tend to not have that as much. Say, this is a bit of a rimmed one, but this gives you some example where if you look at things like 5.56 rounds are not really rimmed. But yeah, that's the easiest way I can explain it for people, but I'm sure most people who are into guns know exactly what that is. It's just that old bolt actions use that as their extraction system, basically. Yeah, the problem is, Alex, that a lot of it is either they'll make changes and then they don't work properly, and then it takes them ages to fix it, or yes, a lot of it is based on big, safe, very bland channels, even if you're doing everything within the rules as newer channels. But yeah, like I said, it's annoying because there's channels I'm subscribed to where I've done everything I'm meant to do to get notified every time I do an upload, and YouTube just randomly stops notifying you. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't demonstrate how on a stream, because I'll get a strike for it, how a bolt action picks up the rim, because I can do that with my obsolete calibers, because all the action is completely working. So with an inert cartridge, I can safely demonstrate that, but can't do it on the stream because it will give me a strike for it now. Basically, Flazzy, I was just giving a more simple explanation of how the rifle extracts it, more of the rim around the cartridge. It wasn't to do with like actual rim fires, as in like 22 rim fire, those where obviously the primer's around the actual rim itself. It was more just to do with how it actually picks the cartridge out, because obviously if you look at more like modern magazine fed cartridges, they don't even have as much of a rim, because the bolt doesn't need to extract it that way. But yeah, obviously you've got both the differences of how some of them shoot as well. But you can get some centerfires with rims as well on some like the World War II era rifles. So although they're still striking the middle of the primer, they do have that sort of, clunkier kind of rim to help the bolt pick them up. Oh yeah, if you mean things like 22 rimfire, yeah, Bright, it's just because they're older cartridges, really. They were, and again, there's a very interesting Paul Harrell video actually saying that on some of the old like 22 LR guns, showing like why some of them work better than others, and it's just like how the hammer strikes the back of the thing. Yeah. Yeah, Lucas, that was the thing. Like I said, it's both feeding and it's also how the hammer strikes them. Because if you have a rimfire where the gun has a wider hammer, it's more likely to actually strike it successfully. Yeah, 17 HMR is pretty zippy, isn't it? From what I understand, not that I've ever shot one, but I've actually got somewhere a shell of a 17 HMR, and yeah, it looks like a 22 LR, except it's much more necked, because obviously it's got way more velocity to it. All right, cheeky antics. Yeah, Alex, I have a thing at the moment where sometimes if where it says like they're recommending you a video, I'll scroll down 2 lines and that video is recommended again without obviously pushing certain videos to you, to the point where it, like I'm saying, it's showing that same video, like not like a duplicate upload of it, but the same channel, same upload being recommended multiple times. Like, oh no, you shouldn't have scrolled past that. We wanted you to click on it. But yeah, anyway, I'll be off in a minute, as said, just because of the fact that busy weekend at work. So I'm going to attempt to do a members stream tomorrow in the evening about 8 p.m. I'm hoping it works, but if that feature is still broken, then I'll just do a regular stream and whatever. But yeah, I should hopefully at least get a chance to do some more streams next week, because this coming week, because I don't think I've got as many shifts coming up. As in, I know I'm definitely working the weekend, but I think I'm only needed to work a couple of days in the week as opposed to doing like a 6-day week. So it should just give me more time to film videos. Oh, and there's something I did want to do a video on that was in the news today, at least a bit. You can use a D-cell on it fine, cheeky, as long as you crop clip a D-cell into it. Because the Soviet battery is 1.6 volts, so a D-cell works absolutely fine as 1.5 volts. You can technically use a AA, it will just drain it really quickly. But yeah, there was a thing about some kid that died from cyanide poisoning. where the government had been dumping cyanide near somebody's house and then tried to cover it up. And that's something in this country, by the way. We're not on about Banana Republic. We're actually on about the UK. So it's not funny. It's horrible. But it's literally the fact that some kid died and his dad was paralyzed when there was flooding and like cyanide essentially leaked from a dump site into their house. And then, although the fire brigade reported there was cyanide gas in the house, when they came in with all like their respirators on and the testing equipment, the government forced in the autopsy it to say they died of carbon monoxide poisoning, and then wouldn't let the mum go to the kid's funeral and all horrible shit like that. So I will do a video on that because, you know, as much as I'm not qualified to talk about it, from all the stuff they were speaking on the news about, like how the bodies were conformed, like that's not carbon monoxide that does that. That's like the way people curl up when they've been poisoned with cyanide. So yeah, you know, that's just one of those horrible things. But I thought it was worth mentioning about, you know, the fact that if the government's been illegally dumping horrible chemicals near your house, there is a chance that, you know, you might need a gas mask. Sorry, Laura, I'm off now. Yeah, 357 Magnum, I'm sure is very fun, and 44 Magnum, but sadly I've never shot them. But anyway, I'll be off now. But anyway, have a good evening, everybody. And as I said, tomorrow I'll try and do a members stream if it works and YouTube doesn't break it when I try and put it on. Otherwise, I'll do a normal stream. And assuming, like I said, I'm not working as much during the week, I'll try and get a few videos up in the week. So yeah, have a good evening, everybody, and I will see you all sort of in videos and streams during the week. Right, bye.